3. We are live and recording now. So welcome to our first LD Talent Town Hall. We're going to try to keep this short to around half an hour and get feedback from our developers and our clients on how to make this business better. So I'm Gobi, one of the founders of LD Talent, and we're all about helping developers all over the world get access to clients all over the world to engage in mutually beneficial business. So I'd like to open up the floor to people to introduce themselves. And you can go ahead and jump in and introduce yourself. Otherwise, I might call on you and ask you to just say your name and a couple words about yourself. All right, Vatsal, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, yeah. See, hi, hello all. I am Vatsal Desai, and I have been with Learning Dollar for almost a year, and I am having 15 years of experience in software field, working as Java and JavaScript professional, and apart from that, now I have been working as a AI professional, deep learning and computer vision engineer.
Wonderful, thank you, Vatsal. So how about Collins? Collins, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Collins and I'm from Kampala, Uganda. I've been working with LD since November last year. Worked with a couple of clients and currently working with Mulu and Anamiva. So it's great being here. I'm a full stack JavaScript developer.
Wonderful, thank you, Collins. Wayne, could you please introduce yourself? You're the one client here, so everybody's interested in hearing what you have to say.
Hi, I'm a client, but I've known Gobi since high school, and so I've been following this for a long time. Yeah, our situation was that we had a college website that needed to be developed, and I was charged with doing that. And Gobi found a team, I was very early on the platform before all the matching, the automated matching was done. And we were able to put together a very good team that was able to deliver a WordPress-based but very customized website that's gotten tremendous reviews. So very happy about that.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Abhinav, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Abhinav and I'm a full stack dev. So I have joined Learning Dollars around a year maybe, or maybe less than a year, I don't remember much. And yeah, so till now I haven't worked for any client. I just worked for one of the blogs on the website. And yeah, and apart from Learning Dollars, I just do freelancing on Upwork. And I also work for a company full time earlier, but now part time for 4 hours per day. Yeah, and when I joined Learning Talent, at that time I was working out of Brisbane, but currently am in India, Haryana.
Wonderful. Thank you. How about Akinsanya?
Okay, my name is Akinsanya Adioluwa. I'm a backend developer from Lagos, Nigeria. I love building exciting products, but interesting products, and then also contributing to open source. And then I also write articles in my free time. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sunny?
Mic check. Hi everybody. My name is Sonny, and I'm a full stack engineer. I have over 5 years of experience pushing code. I joined Learning Dollar, I think, close to a year ago, and currently interviewing with a client for Learning Dollar. And what else? I currently work full time in a financial institution in Nigeria. Currently, yeah, I think that's all about me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sunny. Rita?
Hi, Rita here.
Hi.
Just joined, yeah. I'm a full stack software engineer, focused mostly currently on the front end side, that's JavaScript, React. Just joined Learning Dollars, I think a little bit of a month ago. So yeah, I'm still getting to know the community and everyone else, yeah.
Thank you, Rita. And Tim?
Yes, this is Tim. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a full stack software engineer. I do Python and JavaScript. I joined learning dollars around February. Yeah, I had my first client, and currently I'm interviewing.
Wonderful. Good luck. Samuel?
Hi guys, my name is Samuel. I'm a developer from Nairobi. I work mostly with Python and Django and Flask, mostly on the backend side and DevOps. I joined the Learning Dollars way back in 2018, but I've been preoccupied with a bit of full-time work. I work at an insurance software company. We build solutions for insurance companies. So yeah, working my way back to Learning Dollars and trying to get more work with international clients.
Cool. Joshua?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Joshua Lugada. I'm from Kampala, Uganda. I joined Learning Dollar, I think December of last year, and yeah, I'm currently working with a client. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm a JavaScript full stack developer. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. So Ganga mentioned that she would just type in the chat. So she did that, and that's wonderful. So I think we have heard from everyone. Let me know if I have missed you. But if not, we'll proceed to go to our main topic. So let me share my screen now and get confirmation from everyone that they can see my screen. So can you see my screen when I press present now, like this? Do you see Town Hall? I'll get 3 confirmations. Thank you, Rika.
Yes.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're seeking developer feedback and client feedback. And we're just gonna jump straight at the big question, which is, how do we get clients to try developers from outside the US? And I'm interested in hearing from both developers outside of the US's perspective, as well as clients within the US's perspective. And for a little bit of context, there are a lot of roles where we are now pitching. We have these resumes, and they have a lot of detailed. They're standardized and have a lot of detailed information on developers' past performance, reviews, statistics on them, and they're clearly skilled in, say, a skill like React on Python. But we often get a response saying this engineer is a perfect fit. It's just that they're not in the US, so we can't go forward. And so this is a big problem we need to solve or try addressing.
Hey, Gobi, what is this is Wayne. What is the resistance? I mean, Upwork, that platform, people buy offshore talent all the time.
Yeah, so we've heard a few things. So we've heard sometimes that companies say, oh, it might be a time zone problem. Other times they say that it might be a problem with like a cultural barrier communication. Other times they say it might they're going to be raising money from venture capitalists, and the venture capitalists want to see a local team. Other times they say we're going to have deals with the US government, and the US government wouldn't permit us to have code developed outside the US. Other times they say it might be a security issue. We might be dealing with HIPAA compliant software, or software that might need to be compliant with US government regulations. Other times they'd say that we need to sign a lot of agreements about proprietary software or proprietary data. And if the person is outside the US, we have no ways of enforcing that legally.
Got it. Yeah, those are all legitimate pushbacks. But there are a number of people that have casual or less, less security requirements. They just want to get something done, and they're regular clients. So, yes, if you're focused on U.S., people subject to U.S. security issues, dealing with the government or dealing with sensitive health or financial data, that's going to be tricky. I'm on the board of a company that does all onshore translation from one language to another, and all of our workers are onshore, and the main selling point that we sell is that it's subject to U.S. law, the reach of jurisdiction and legal process. Whereas if translation and interpretation companies that backhaul stuff offshore are beyond the reach of people if there's a problem.
So that might be tricky. How about the case where?
I'm sorry. One last thing there, Gobi. There are a number of clients who don't care, which is this, medical institutions, which are principal clients. They care because of HIPAA. But other, travel companies, help desk on a SaaS platform, they don't care. As long as they get the problem solved, they don't care where it gets solved from.
Yeah. One of the things that we're trying to investigate is if there are certain software teams, and much of their team is in the US, but if they can create a tiered permission structure, they can get some work done with international developers by just having them work on a fraction of the code base that doesn't have access to certain proprietary things that require being in the US. But it's a little bit difficult to convey those type of details of like, oh, is there room for making your tiered permission structure such that you can hire international? It's hard to do that in a sales pitch of a few candidates.
Yeah, it's also a matter of scale. You have to have a big enough, both a professionally managed engineering team and a big enough set of projects and needs to justify the additional overhead of doing that. Yes, you save direct billing costs, per hour costs, but there's overhead in managing that and dealing. And then if you layer in communication difficulties or time zone difficulties, that means that the project has to be relatively self-contained, and that now you're starting to get a narrower set of filtered projects that are available for this.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm sure it's very interesting for developers to hear that, because now they can understand a little bit better the other side of things. So from the developer perspective, particularly the international developer perspective, I was wondering if any of you had ideas what you would do if you saw a client and you knew that you could do work for them, but there is this sort of constraint about geographic location borders. How would you pitch yourself, or what are some ideas you had for solving these problems?
Hey Gobi, Abhinav here. So I think for the time zone is a very specific thing that I would like to address, because most of the teams find it difficult to just find a time where they can just work together in the same time zone, or maybe they have somewhat 2 hours or 4 hours of overlap time between the time zones. Because I face it because mostly I work with our Australian clients, and currently also I'm working for one of the Australian client, and the way we have handled is, so currently the time zone difference between India and Australia is 4.5 hours, and how we have managed it, so I started working early, and so my first half will overlap with their second half, so whatever sync up need to happen, that will happen in the second half. And before this also, I worked for the full time for one of the Australian client, where I started early around 4 a.m. So I just switched my working timing to a different zone. So I just get up early around 4 o'clock, which is around 8:30 in Australia, and then get through my day, and my day would be over around 12 in India, and by that time it will be evening in Australia. So this can be managed in some cases where if a developer is willing to change the time zone entirely, but I'm not sure if that's possible in every case, but in some cases, yeah, it's possible. Means we can just change the time zone, because I don't feel that much difference, because I just start my day a bit early, end it a bit early, so yeah, it's fine for me. And regarding the communication, I think we can have something like, so Upwork recently added one feature where you can attach, if you have your IELTS or PT score, and they can just give you a tick mark that, yeah, communication skill is fluent and it's verified by a person. So something like that if we want to do.
Great points. Cool. Thank you very much, Abhinav. So the next thing is, a lot of places where we're losing deals now is we have a ton of WordPress and React developers. But often we're finding that there are clients who are looking for niche skills like Kubernetes, Neo4j, Unity 3D, Solidity. These skills, smart contracts and blockchain, 3D modeling, special types of cloud computing areas. Those are areas where it's so tough to find local talent that if you're skilled and international, clients may be willing to budge and work with developers outside of, if they're in US or Canada or Western Europe. And so I'm curious how we can incentivize developers to learn these skills, or how we can recruit developers from specifically Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, and India, but also other parts of the majority world or developing world, how we can recruit developers who have these niche skills, because I think we can make a big difference if we can fill these roles.
For Kubernetes, I think you should target hiring DevOps people instead of the developers, because currently DevOps is a completely separate branch and it's changing at so much pace that it's very hard for a developer to keep up with the change that it's changing every month. So for example, if I learn something in Kubernetes and I haven't worked for 4 or 5 months, then there are a lot of new stuff come out. So for example, when I last worked on, we just go through AWS basic architecture and just make EC2 instances and Kubernetes clusters and stuff like that. But now people used to make them using Terraforms, which completely automate the process. So I think for the Kubernetes and AWS regarding skills, I think instead of focusing on giving that task to a developer, I think we should focus on hiring DevOps, or specialized DevOps team for that.
I think almost in all the latest technology, this is the case. I mean, everything is changing fast within 3 months or 4 months. So this would be the challenge for each and every technology.
Yeah, but so DevOps people, because they would be more updated because their regular day job is regarding the same. For as a dev, if I work as a full stack dev, so for in my case, I work on mainly on Drupal and on React.js and Node.js. So I need to I focus my energy mostly on React.js and being updated with React, PHP, and Drupal. And if I need some of the things that I need to do on DevOps side, I just look at it every now and then just do it. But that's not my niche skill. That I don't means I'm not a proper DevOps guy, so I just know stuff, some basic stuff that I need to do, and so I focus my energy mainly on my skills. As a developer, I focus mainly on React and Drupal and PHP. So that's why if a person is working as a DevOps engineer, he would be just working mainly on Kubernetes and AWS, so he would, or Google Cloud. So that's their niche skill. So they would focus more on that side, and then they would be more updated. So that's what my point of view is. So as a dev, we don't give that much importance to our DevOps side.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Abhinav and Vatsal. How about the people from Africa? Do you have any opinions on this question on how we can recruit people with niche skills or train people with niche skills in specific areas?
Mic check. Mic check.
Yeah. We can hear you, Sunny.
Yeah. I would like to speak to the time zone issue. Basically, I think what would really help is probably maybe hiring people with experience in working in a distributed team. Say, okay, you worked with clients in a different time zone, really helps. And for the cultural issues, I think we can have some courses. Yeah, that's for the cultural shock and cultural differences. We can have some pre-courses that one can take that would actually explain in details, like how it is in other cultures. Say, okay, hi in this culture means hi in this other culture, like that. Stuff like that would really help developers. Because I noticed that one major issue that engineers have is probably with soft skills, which is pretty important. So I think that would help really. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. Sunny, though, I did have a question though. So I appreciate that. But what are your personal thoughts on getting people with skills in more rarer skill areas, if you had any?
For now, I haven't got any idea for that, but once I have, I'll share that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sunny. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey.
So what I think is one, like as a developer, you can't always be one-rounded. You can't always have skills like say in React and Node and just be comfortable within that zone. So for roles that are niche specific, I think we need to get to be more open to seeing if someone is willing to level up within that field and take up that opportunity, because we can't always guarantee that within the talent pool we'll have someone who knows Unity 3D or Solidity. But do we have someone who is able to level up and use that ramping path to get up to speed with the technology? Then if that person is there and the client is willing to actually work with that, then I think it's a possible solution. We can definitely look at people ramping up within these skills as soon as there's an opening for them.
That's a really great point. So right now our skill selection is quite crude. People either know it or not, but we don't have a mapping of tangential skills, for instance, skills that are close to other skills. And also when we present the GitHub blog projects, which many of you have done, you get $40 to learn a new skill and post it on our blog. It also helps our site's SEO, right? But in those, we let you do whatever you want. But we should really scale those by how in demand. If you're doing a WordPress project, maybe we shouldn't pay as much as if you're doing a Kubernetes project, which is way more in demand. So sort of being more smart about how we incentivize developers to learn new skills could be helpful.
Yeah, to add to that, I know what some other companies do is probably to develop a learning management system. So somebody comes up with a curriculum of, say, let's take Neo4j.s as an example. Somebody comes up with a curriculum and then it's well spelled out, well drawn out on possible, should I say, topics that helps you ramp up on that particular section as fast as possible. So that could also help. That's a point too. It's just.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cool. So the next question is, right now we're marketing ourselves, like it's all about SEO. And so we're trying to get people when they search for React. And so we're doing a lot of marketing outside of SEO, but our next push is going to be SEO. We're trying to get, like, when somebody searches for a React developer who knows Flutter as well, right? We want LD to show up in the first top 10 search results so we can get organic conversions. Now, the way we're so speaking of SEO, language is really important. So when somebody's searching for our platform, right now, our keyword is, if you go to our landing page, it'll say, find affordable vetted developers. That's what we are from a perspective of a client sitting in a wealthy country. Is it's a place where you can find vetted, so it's more vetted than Upwork, but affordable, so it's more affordable than TopTal. And so that's what it is. But we have gotten some pushback and from both the client and the developer side on whether affordable is the right word. And so we want to know what your thoughts are on this, both developers and clients.
I think it may be better to emphasize quality and reliability of the developers.
Thank you.
And I would also like to add one point here. So regarding the affordability factor, so for some of the countries, so for example, if when I just started on learning dollars, I put my profile rate around 25, I think, because at that time I wasn't in India. So in Australia, that's the minimum I need able to survive, because it's a costly country to live in. And if I'm not getting 25 USD per hour at the minimum, then I would not be able to survive myself. So when now currently I'm in India, so I have decreased my rate to around 14, I think 14 or 12. I not remember, because I think I just recently changed it. So in India, I can work. If I live in India, I can work around $12 or $10. If I don't have any work, I may be willing to work for $10. So that's just an example. But if I would be working in Australia or living in Australia, then I won't be able to do that. So I need to just value my time accordingly, and because the cost of living and most other
Right.
factors just come in. Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and for currently also, even after lowering my per hour rate, I still not getting that much traction on LD.
Right.
But on Upwork, my profile is the same. So when I just moved from India to Australia, I just raised my profile rate from 15 to 25. So currently I have clients for 25. They know that I am working from India, but now because contract is already started, and I'm not planning to change that or lower that rate currently, because I'm getting about 6 hours per day around of work daily from Upwork. So that's some ongoing projects.
Right.
So I don't want to change it. So because on the same rate, I'm getting some more invites as well, but I'm not able to do that because of the time issue, because I don't have that much time. So I don't think that for most of the clients, the price point is really an issue. If once they become comfortable with your skill, and I have exactly almost the same profile that I have created here on LD and on my Upwork. The only difference is the feedback that I have on Upwork, because I was associated with Upwork since around 2012. So it's been 7 to 8 years.
These are great points. And, yeah, that actually segues into this next point. So I do want to bring it up. It's just like, okay, Upwork's the big player here, and we're not going to deny that. We are trying to be competitive with them. So as you may have noticed on our site, we've made the percentage cut of our platform completely transparent. We've made the fact that we do free trials completely transparent. And we're trying to surface more data than Upwork. That being said, competing with Upwork is, so obviously, like, what's the point? Why should we compete with Upwork? If Upwork exists and it's solving the problem, why should LD even exist? Well, the thought was that, well, maybe Upwork is helping some people, but a lot of people are also not being able to be helped by Upwork, because it seems like there's this noise in Upwork where there's like a lack of vetting, and also Upwork doesn't do anything to help the developers upskill themselves. But if LD, one, is a smaller fish than Upwork, and two, we're spending extra money by helping developers upskill themselves, how are we going to be able to compete with a marketplace like Upwork? So I'd like you all to like take a look at this little thing, this quote from a client who hired on Upwork instead of LD, and give me some ideas on what can we do to solve your problems. Is there any problem that you have that Upwork doesn't solve, and maybe some ideas on how LD can solve those problems so that we can be competitive?
One other point that I think is, I'm not sure if it's with everywhere, but mostly in India, what I found is, so some of my friends are running IT companies and they are just landing their clients solely from Upwork. But the thing is, they are using some profiles of themselves, but they have other people to do work instead of they themselves doing it. So they just pick up the project based upon the profile, but the client would never know whether the same guy is just working on their project or they are just outsourcing it somewhere else. So that, I think on LD, I think when you vet someone and you know personally, so I think there are better chances that whoever you hire is the person doing the work instead of outsourcing it to someone else.
Right. So unlike Upwork, we sort of know our developers better. We've video interviewed them. We're at a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Do we have any perspectives from people who have gone through Andela on this topic, this quote from this client?
Are you sharing something, because I can't see any quote?
Can people see my screen?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, Gobi, while I have
okay. Yeah, now I can see.
Wait, Abhinav,
let me just. I'm going to have to leave here in about 5 minutes, but thank you for inviting me. And if you want to chat about business models and so on, just call me anytime.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have to leave now or in 5 minutes?
I have to leave 5 minutes.
Okay, then I wanted to bring up one of the most important topics right now, because this is the last topic, and I thought it was very interesting, and it would be great to get everyone's perspective on this. Is that there's this whole business that we're doing of matching clients with developers. But we've built this community of 200 developers who we've vetted and we know their skills. And are there any other ways for us to monetize this network? You know, we can have people, here are some sample ideas. We can have people look at keywords that are in high demand. Everybody's spending all their time right now online because they're locked down. Target those keywords with blogs and monetize just through standard ads. We can have developers develop their own apps and have them monetize them by selling them. We could have developers develop software. But one of the problems is that all of these require a lot of investment capital, and we're looking for things that require a little bit less investment capital, but also create jobs for all these talented developers that we have spent a lot of effort in identifying and upskilling. And so I am looking for your ideas on other ways we can monetize our wonderful network.
Well, it kind of leads to one point that I was sort of incubating in my mind. It's not really fully formed yet, so please forgive me if it's a little half-baked here. But as I look at the landscape, I use Upwork and I use you guys, so I'm familiar with both things. And I think Upwork has improved quite a bit in the last few years as they got their payment structure tighter, and they got their what do you call it? Community ratings. You know, where you have community ratings, you can see how well these folks have done with other projects, and that gives you some helpfulness. That said, I think LD has always had, at least it had when I first got started, hold on, the ability to add in a layer of organization and management to get people started. Now, if you have sophisticated engineering groups that are used to remote teams and project-oriented and moving projects out and managing them from afar, then that's fine. But I think most companies don't have that. And so having somebody or having a service that can layer in that management buffer, even if you charge for it, I think would be attractive. And the pitch would not be affordable per hour basis, but a total cost of ownership kind of, including the management and the overhead, because the main thing that people want to get is to get the monkey off their back and onto somebody else's back in a reliable way that's not going to cost them a fortune.
Cool. And to follow up, Wayne, so that makes sense, and sort of like get the monkey off their back really like sort of makes sense as solving the customer's problem. But I was curious if you had thoughts on this, like.
Oh, this, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. What you said was valuable, but on this, are there any other ways you could see of us monetizing this network?
Well, what you're doing essentially there, Gobi, is talking about new businesses that would use the power of LD as the labor driver of the service. So you're going to create a services company, whether it could be SEO for customers, it could be SEO, you know, on high value keywords. There was a group. In fact, there's a group up in Marin County. Are you still in the Bay Area, Gobi?
No, I'm in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. There's a group up in Marin that writes these little mini ebooks, and they make a bloody fortune because they investigate what the keywords are, and then they write the mini book, and then they do mini blogs that drive and sell the ebooks for $9.95 or something. And they make a lot of money on that. I can give you information about that, but that's a separate business. And what you'd be talking about is somebody to do the marketing management on that, and then to leverage the talent in the LD network in order to create the content. Similarly, any other PaaS platform or I'm sorry, professional services that are semi-automated and able to be sold on demand. It's a business model you would layer on top of the LD engine. But you're right, it's a separate business. It requires separate leadership and talent.
But Wayne, I was wondering if maybe it was even possible for us to move out of the service. I mean, to keep the service sector, but move outside as well. Like maybe we don't need to always just be a services company. We could also build products ourselves that we could sell.
Yeah, that's called forward integrating. Professional services companies either go up the stack and add value, so they basically turn into some of their clients. You know,
Yeah.
and that's one path that services companies use to grow. The other is to create intellectual property, and then it becomes a product company. That typically takes there are very different sales cycles and very different capital structures. And again, I can chat with you about that offline if you want. But unless a lot of times a professional service group will develop a tool which they use to manage themselves, their own internal stuff. And with a little bit of extra work, they can create that and make that shrink wrapped or a SaaS service they can sell and service to third parties, not just for their own internal. You know, having software that runs just for your internal work doesn't require, you know, documentation and controls and administration and all those kinds of other things you have to put in there if you're going to put it out as a SaaS service to third parties. But that's a relatively small investment to make if you're going to spin something out, and that's a fairly achievable path. But I don't know of those. You know, it seems to me that selling apps is, unless you become an agent for a developer who does that, or you become a marketing agent, you know, they're going to own the royalty on that. They're going to own the main part of that.
Well,
anyway,
we could have them build. We could decide on an app together, and then LD would own the IP of the app.
Okay.
But the developer might get some, like, we might have a revenue sharing agreement with the developer.
Yeah, well, either fixed fee, revenue sharing, or all contingent. You can build that any way you want. But yeah, that's if you have some ideas, and you know, that's stuff the talent network is currently doing. It's actually creating apps for other people. So if you see a white space in the market for an app, you can say, hey, let's go ahead and build something there. But again, so you have to have the marketing, you know, all the effort. But presumably you in the US side would figure out how to do that, and you could power it with some people. You could pay off the LD network to get some of the work done, but it's still your risk.
Yeah. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, I appreciate you talking about low investment ideas that we could try to leverage. Yeah, thank you, Wayne.
Okay, good. I got to run now, but thanks a lot, Gobi. Good luck, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate stepping in and explaining things.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we have some 3 important comments. So I would like the order to be this: Sunny, then Ganga, then Vatsal. So I'm going to read Sunny's. Actually, Ganga is, I don't know if she can speak now. She might be on mobile. But definitely Sunny, then Vatsal. And if Ganga is available, she can take. So Sunny's comment was, you can leverage third-party services like Git Prime to compare engineers' code efficiency in relation to the team they're working on. And that way you have data back on how great your engineers are. Okay, so did we have any comments on that?
I think that is not actually the problem as of now. I mean, instead of comparing the developers, our focus may need to shift somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, I think I think it's a good idea, Sunny. I think we can get a good statistics on our developers and improve our current setting. But one of the things that I also thought was appreciated was Vatsal said building products ourselves is actually a better idea. Bringing out some of the examples like Zoho, which is based, I don't know, Zoho is based in India, and it's a company that's entirely run in India. It's not like a model where the US client comes in and they hire developers in India. It's just like they built the entire product in India. I'm curious, are there any examples of software SaaS products that are based in Africa that are selling internationally? Anyone from Uganda, Nigeria, or Kenya, or Tanzania who started a company that has international clients?
I think Flutterwave is an example of that. So Flutterwave is more like a payment integration platform. I currently work there. And part of what they've done is they've actually built a system that allows you to send and receive payment within Africa and also beyond. So I think Flutterwave is also a good example of that, same as Flutterwave and the rest.
What was the second one? You said Flutterwave and the other one?
Paystack.
Paystack. So I have heard of both. I know about Flutterwave and I know about Paystack, and I've also heard of Nala, which is formed by my friend who graduated from Stanford Business School, and he's in Tanzania. But the thing is that all these companies are payment companies, and they're about moving money within Africa or moving money from outside Africa, usually Europe or the Americas, into Africa. But we need to see examples of products. Like, why wasn't thank you, Muhammad, on seconding the idea to decide on apps that we can develop later and owning our IP. But basically, why is it that all the products, the ideas need to come from America? Why can't we build something? Well, the reason why we can't build something is it might be capital intensive. But maybe what we could do is sort of like start small, build small projects that are SEO friendly and gain some revenue through ads, and then from that build up to more apps that maybe we can build an app that we can sell on the App Store. But it needs to be really good for us to make any money out of it. So it's a challenge.
Gobi, I have some of my thoughts on this idea if you have some time.
Yeah. Go
okay.
ahead.
So the transition of a service company to a product company can't be just instantaneous. The way I think we can achieve this and the way it's being done in my current company was like we should maintain and keep capitalizing on the services that we are still offering. And apart from that, like we are doing that GitHub and blog for the upscaling and stuff. So we can add one more thing to that, like we can start building some accelerators. And what these accelerators are, these are just some of the tools that will help that to reduce the development time of the actual product or projects. So if I want to give a detailed example, so I have recently this for my company where we are a service-based company where we started on making some accelerators. So what we have done is, so my company mainly works on the Drupal. So we just created a Drupal distribution with the name Easy Content. So, and how we are marketing that was like we are offering that to client that if instead of using the vanilla Drupal, if you use our distribution, it will just cut out the development time by 30% or by 40%. So in that case, that solution is pre-built, and instead of building from scratch, whatever the client requirement is, we can build on top of that. So like this, if we have some targeted distributions for some of the stuff, like for the content or CMS based website, if we made one distribution, and for some other type of websites that is for marketing website, we have some other distribution. So we can just market that if you use our distribution instead of creating it from scratch, then you can save this amount of time, and then we can just sell it along with our services. So this kind of.
That's a great idea. Yeah. So let me see if I covered everything, because I had one point related to this. Oh, yeah. We'll get to the resume form in a second, but I think this is an interesting topic. So we do want to keep our services, and we have had like several over 40 paying customers, and we've had over 100 engineers get matches, but it's just not enough, right? So one of the things I was thinking about was Nitin Gandhi did a COVID visualization, and McDavid McDavid did another blog project that got a lot of SEO interest. Even like TopTal came to us and we were like, oh, can you link from your blog to our blog? And we obviously didn't say yes, but we do have some people who are able to do good work in our network. Maybe an idea could be, I could post an LD engineer saying, you know what, when you ask someone for money, right? If you ask LD for money for building a project, you benefit because you get the money and you learn something, but how will LD benefit? So maybe one of the things we could just ask is, we have all these developers who are bright and we know that they're well educated and they're constantly learning things. Why don't I, as one of the founders of LD, just ask you, how can we bring, like, what are your ideas? How can you help LD make more money, basically? So I'm asking you if you have any ideas on how LD can bring in more money, because you know the most successful employees of a company or the most successful people in business are the people who help other people make more money. So if you had, maybe I could just straight up ask an LD engineers, hey engineers, do you have any ideas for projects that can make LD and you money? And we could do a revenue sharing agreement. So I'm curious about ideas on that front.
So my thoughts on that would be, the future right now more looks like software as a service companies are more bound to have more success. What this means, or even sometimes sort of what we would call middlemen companies. Look at Amazon. Amazon doesn't, at the start, didn't own most of the stores or most of the products it was selling. It just created a platform for retailers and for people selling these products to then meet the people who need to buy these products. Same thing with Uber. Same thing with most of these companies that are now getting a lot of traction have sort of solved for a problem that doesn't necessarily need them to be the solution, but they connect you to the solution. So I think if we're thinking of products or softwares to build, then we need to think along those grounds. Think of what can be built from LD talent that can then be outsourced to provide a solution, or to link people to a certain solution. Or if not that, can we create something that is able to get licensed, that is able to get used by other companies and businesses? I think that would be a great way to do it, because those in the long run require less investment and capital, because you're just building the tool. You don't necessarily need to invest a lot in a couple of these other things that a company that is doing more hands-on of provision of the solution would have to get themselves into. But you just create a platform for connecting.
Okay.
Hi, Gobi.
Hi,
I think,
Muhammad. Yeah.
I think I also second Colin's idea that I think we should stick on providing our services and also developing the blogs, but also like the way Colin said earlier, that we should stick as a software as a service company where we develop solutions or systems that are used by governments or corporate companies or NGOs. In my case, for example, I am in Tanzania. I was approached by one of the parties here. The government of Tanzania approached me that they needed a voting system. With my timeline, I wasn't able to develop that system. So you see like in Tanzania we need like several solutions. We need like several systems that are going to help or assist each other, assist people in several ways. So I think developing the blogs, it's a good idea. I don't disagree with that, but I think, you see, when clients read our blogs, some clients can't go through the whole blog. It's kind of difficult at times because they don't they don't understand those engineering terms or whatever. So I think what they need is to see the actual product, like the way you said. We should decide on a product or a software that is interesting to the clients, and then we develop as a community at LD, and then you could decide to own the IP, and also the engineers will benefit like a percentage of the revenue or whatever. So I think what the clients need is to see what do you guys offer? You know, we have
Mm.
blogs, several blogs. You know, we have several blogs. People write blogs every now and then in LD, but we need to have. Yes, I can see
Right.
that.
But
We
how
need
do
to
we
have
get to monetize them? That's the thing. We need work that's monetizable. That's exactly right. Yeah. You're right, Mama.
Yeah.
Now it seems like we're agreed, everyone. And hi, Daniel and Gabriel. Thank you for joining, and Moses. It seems like we're agreed that it's important that we figure out how to make money other than from clients. It's just, you know, and Vatsal is saying, right, we need to do need finding. We need to identify clients and make products for them specifically, taking them into the loop. This is all great. I think what I'll do is I have ideas on, I think I understand a little bit about what people might pay for that is affordable for us. Like, you know, people will pay for an airplane, but we don't have the capital to build an airplane, right? So but I think we have ideas where it requires a little bit less capital, but maybe we could build it and monetize it quickly. But what I'll do is I'll create a form for fitting all the constraints together, and then I'll put that out in LD engineers. And if people have ideas, they can propose them, but it has to fit within all our constraints of is it within budget? Is it easily monetizable and things like that? And then we can see, maybe we can try to engage in one of those products if it's going to be a quick turnaround to make money from it. Yeah. So if there are, I know it's hard to come up with ideas on the spot right now. And if there are any ideas, please let me know right now. Otherwise, I'll make a post in LD engineers and you guys can think, and you know, everyone can think and see whether you have any ideas. So I'll give you 10 seconds if you have anything to say, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Hi, Gobi.
Yeah,
please permit me to drop off. I have another meeting now, so.
Take care. Thank you, Sunny.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Okay, yeah. I didn't expect, it's not easy to come up with an idea. We're trying to solve one of the hardest. Yes, anyone want to say something? Okay, yeah, it's not easy to come up with one of these ideas, but hopefully over time we'll come up with some of them that can be low investment and easily monetizable quickly, as in within months. And, you know, it's something that we can do as software engineers. So the last question was just pretty simple question. It's just, a lot of people have said that the resume form is hard to fill. We want to improve that, but at the same time, we need to, one of the biggest problems we had before in the old form where you can just check off your skills is that people claimed a lot of skills that they didn't have. So we need a form that can make sure to guarantee that it's basically very difficult to impossible for a developer to claim a skill that he or she does not have. So they need to have that skill, but the form should be easy to fill. So any ideas or feedback on the resume form?
I think on my end, I actually don't think there's anything to add in the resume form. I think it's much better than the previous version. Gives you the ability to add more detail into what you've done. That helps a lot in driving the conversations. So I have nothing to add on that.
Okay, thank you, Collins.
And one of the things that I found difficult in the new form was, so for example, if I worked on a project, I have used multiple technologies, and if I want to list it in the resume, so the currently how it was structured was like, we have to list our skills, and then if I have, then I have to mention the same project every now and then. For example, if I listed skill as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and Node.js, or maybe Node.js, and then under each of it, we have to mention that yes, for this skill, I have made this functionality on this project. Instead, if we can just add some projects, or maybe, and then list out the, I have worked on this project and these are the skills that I have worked on in this project, like we do in the traditional resume, where we mention some of the projects, maybe without mentioning client or URLs, if that is something that we can't share because of the NDA, or if you can share, if it's not bound to any NDA, then you can just share that yeah, this is the project, this is the URL, and these are the skills that I have used to create this.
Okay.
Because currently, if you just check every skill, and inside every skill, we have, I think, some rows where we can enter more data, and it's like a repetition of things. When I found it very difficult to fill, because if it doesn't contain a word CSS and I'm adding it inside the form, then it just throw an error. Then I had to refill it and mention the word CSS in it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and also another thing at Gobe I noticed on the resume, as I tried to fill it, there's technologies like Tailwind CSS. I think it's when you try, like when you maybe you developed a project on Tailwind CSS, and when you try to write Tailwind CSS, there are no technologies or skills that match that specific technology. So I think also. And also another on the part of the course projects, there are other projects that they are not grading, because I noticed that on other courses there's a place where you keep a grade, like you got a B or whatever. So I think it's not really necessary. I think what most importantly is what you have achieved during that course project, and I think yes, I think it's not necessary on the grading part.
Great points. Thank you. Yeah. We don't show those grades to clients. It's just internally, but yeah, you're right. It may not be necessary even.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should keep it short and conclude now, but I did want to just end by giving you just one more chance. I know you're developers, but if you've ever thought of an idea, it doesn't have to be a startup idea, maybe a startup idea, but maybe it's a idea that just, will make money. And if anyone had ideas, thank you, Collins. Thank you, I appreciate it. And I appreciate those kind words. So if any of you have had an idea that you think can make LD, make money, a product idea, I'm going to give this forum for you to talk about it. And it doesn't have to be fully developed or anything.
Hi, Gobi, again.
Yeah.
I think for now, at this moment, I think maybe if each and every one of us should go and do more thorough research on these ideas, and I think maybe we should reply you maybe on the Slack, whatever the talent community group. And also, like in my case, like I told you earlier that I was approached by the government of Tanzania to develop a system, but I wasn't because of my timeline. I think also on our own as engineers, I think we should try and like get corporate companies to to hire highly talented engineers, and also I think we should have a team of marketers that who can like market what we develop or what we sell, but not for now. I think maybe in the future when you have those solutions. So I think each and every one of us in Early Talent should go and do a thorough research on what ideas we should have. And also I think another thing is find systems that are like that are of interest. They're not just any system or any app or any software system that are of interest, that like something like to do with the AI or visualization or whatever, anything that it's a hot cake in our market. So yeah, I think yes.
Yeah.
You get my point, right?
Yeah, I get your point. I think it's good. Yeah. So I wanted to give a few, if no one else has an idea, I wanted to show some things. So I noticed this website. Can you still see my screen? It's called Corona Effect, and it's a data visualization site. And it has some interesting data on coronavirus growth, right? And so it has some sample data. I don't know if it's working perfectly right now, but it's very, like, it's a data visualization site. And then let me show you another site. So another site would be Information is Beautiful. These are all data visualization examples, but they're really relevant in terms of news. And so, these are the type of, like, in the end of the day, when everybody is locked down, they're probably Google searching every 15 minutes of their day. And so when they're Google searching, they are going to the search results, and they're probably clicking on search results like 50, 60 times a day. And so if we can, and what are they clicking on? They're clicking on content. They're clicking on knowledge. So if we can build out, knowledge, like data visualizations, like what I'm showing you on the screen right now, if we can build out projects like that, it may not be too expensive. It may not require tens of thousands in investment. It may just require, less than 100 in investment or hundreds in investment. And it may get us to show up on search results. And if we can show up on search results, then we can monetize first through ads, but also we can try to monetize other ways. So that was one idea I had for us to develop. Another idea I had was there are a lot of apps on the App Store that'll cost $1. And if someone could propose an app that they think will have a free version and a paid version, and it's completely differentiated from other apps on the App Store, and they think that they can convert some people from free version to paid version, we at LD might be willing to invest in that idea and do a revenue sharing agreement. So I'll leave you with that thought. And all the while, we will do our best to try to get you as many clients as possible and try to present you in the best way, present your performance and responsiveness in the best way to get you as many clients as possible. So thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, we're going to conclude. If everyone could just say bye and
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
Gobi.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.